It is safe to say a child is best served by having both parents. But what happens when one mom or dad doesn't hold up their end of the parental duties? Well, Kemi Marie on Twitter says she always thought it was important to keep her son in contact with his father until she realized the father's inconsistency was harming her son's mental and emotional health. Kemi Marie goes on to say that the moment she decided to protect her son, it's something people don't understand. So ladies, would you be open with your child about the other parent's behavior? And are there any real ramifications from keeping a child away from their other parent?
Well, let's be clear. In her story, she was saying that the father was making promises and just was not showing up.
Right, not keeping
Yeah.
them.
And this is the same thing that happened to my brother when we were growing up. He would sit there on Saturday. No, I ain't had no daddy. But he was sitting there on Saturday mornings. Dad was, I know, it's funny to me.
I'm glad that you can laugh at your pain.
Okay.
Because I be telling him, dude,
But
he
don't
ain't
make
coming.
me laugh, because then I'll look heartless.
Dude, he ain't coming. I'm gonna tell you. He's sitting there with a baseball hat, and he just didn't come. Sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying.
I hear that.
That's
That's how
how
she
she
got to where she is.
Yeah, that's it. So, and it really, to one point, you know, my mom would tell him, you know, oh, he's coming. He said he's coming. He would call, you know, on the rotary phone. I'm coming on Saturday, and have that little boy waiting on him and wouldn't show up. So then it got to the point where my mom was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna even tell him, you know. And if he shows up, he shows up.
That's smart.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
And
know a
if
lot
he
of
doesn't,
parents
he
that do that.
doesn't.
So
Yeah, but
in
it's
that-
still that, you know.
Right. So in that particular case, that was a dad not showing up. But I
Right.
think overall is, should you keep a child away from the other parent, whether it's the mom or the dad? For me, I have to say, I didn't have a relationship with my father. He left when I was 3. He came back when I was 14 for a little bit, but it didn't last. And I feel like a lot of my men issues stem from not having a relationship with my dad. So for me, it was crucial that my sons have a relationship with their dad, because I do believe no matter what, kids benefit from both. And whether it's a good relationship or a bad relationship, I think it's always important that they have both.
Absolutely.
And then they can decide.
Yeah, but then there are some
who-
women that use the child.
Oh, sure.
And that's
Yeah.
an issue.
We don't want to do that,
Yeah.
because in the end, you are hurting the child most of all.
That's right.
Most of all.
So then, I agree with you. Is it then, are you saying it is okay to distance the child from the parent because they're disturbing their mental peace? And I'm asking, I actually don't know the answer.
I think the first step is to really evaluate the situation and
Yeah.
evaluate it. And I know this is so hard for women, especially in situations who have broken hearts. And they've been hurt by that man, and they're angry, and there's so much going on. It's really, really hard to have an unbiased evaluation of the situation. That all rhymed. But really recognizing, is this man harming my child?
Right, that's a different thing.
Is inconsistency, is there something I can do to create a bridge here? Whether it's maybe I just don't tell him so that he's not disappointed. What can I do to help the situation?
Yeah.
Granted, maybe even if you feel that's not your responsibility, ultimately your kid's happiness and well-being is. And most importantly, putting aside your heartbreak and doing what's best for the kid. Now, granted, if the man is actually being physically abusive to your child,
Of course.
if there are drugs involved and he's getting
Right.
harmed in some way and he's unsafe, clearly we all are saying, yes, he shouldn't be
Right.
in that child's
Yeah.
life. What I'm saying is, my parents went through a divorce when I was 12 years old, and I would always consider myself a mama's girl. My sister is a daddy's girl completely, and I am all about mommy, mommy, mommy. And when they got divorced, at 12, I felt like all I wanted was to see my mom happy. So I really, without her asking, I was all mom, like rooting her on. And then my dad ended up leaving our home. And then I went on tour and life went on. And he would call me and you would look and go, that's just Papi calling. And then you'd have moments where like, my mom would be like, it's your dad's birthday, make sure you say happy. But I'm grateful that I had a mom very similar to what Garcelle is saying, that like, she put us first, and whatever their issues were in their divorce,
Right.
my mom never had a dad, and therefore it was really important to her that I didn't have that same experience. I regret being a teenager and being like, "Ugh, it doesn't matter, like I I never felt I needed my dad in that way
That's
because
how
I
I
had
felt
such a great
too.
mom. I never felt
Yeah.
I did not. I would see him call. I'd be like, I don't have that close of a relationship with
Yeah.
him, but it's whatever. I have a great mom.
Yeah.
And then you get older. So for any young girl out there who, for whatever reason, you don't think you need, me and Garcelle are telling you,
Yeah.
you need your dad. And now
But
I'm
we're
closer
not
with my
talking-
dad.
What this was talking
Yeah.
about is when certain people, and I don't care if it's a mother or father, but mostly we have a lot of single mothers.
Yeah.
And the father makes a promise to visit the child, to pick the child up, and it doesn't happen. You have to protect your child's peace
Yes.
Yep.
at some point
Yes,
in that
and
child's
sometimes
life.
that means covering for that man. Sometimes.
I think there's a middle ground. I think that the worst case scenario is I remove your privilege of seeing your child because it is
That
a
is
privilege.
extreme.
Right? Right, it's extreme. So the conversation sounds like is, hey, you can't have these broken promises with this kid. This kid is looking forward to seeing you, and you're dangling this fruit, and you're never showing up, and that is making yourself look really untrustworthy to this kid and breaking this kid's heart. So from now on, the next time you can't show up, you've got to let me know. If it happens again, you
He
can't
didn't
lose
sound
a
like he
visit.
was that kind of guy.
Right, but
But
there needs to
this
be
is
some
another
disciplinary
solution.
action so that you see results. You know, otherwise you
Exactly.
lose seeing
You
your
can
child.
put you can put rules in, but also if that father he still has rights, he can go to the court, and then what happens is that he can get visitation.
Yes.
And then that way the court can see if he's
There we
holding
go.
on to the visitation.
Right.
But this is the reason why I applaud the good dads. Because I don't want anybody to listen to this and think, oh yeah, we on men. No.
And we
There are
need
a lot
fathers.
of good
And
dads.
we
A lot
need
of great
them.
dads.
A lot of good
Yeah.
mentors.
Yeah.
But make sure, like, if you want to set it, go to the courts.
Yes.
You know, people say don't go to the government, but sometimes you got to protect your child's peace.
That's
Because I
right.
saw it and it really affected my brother.
Yeah.
I believe that.